My name is Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm a part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're going to learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups. They're from different companies. They're from all kinds of different backgrounds. They've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're going to do after we're done.
Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
Horns on your Sunday. Bring in the horns, English. Welcome to the show. 20 wins. February the 15th. Happy Valentine's Day. If you're not named Tony Padilla, you're going to enjoy today's podcast.
Poor guy.
Poor bastard.
He had a long day. He and Keyshawn are not writing each other Valentine's Day cards. I'll tell you that much.
Nor is the head coach, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Either head coach.
These guys had a long day.
The Saturday afternoon officiating in Hilton Coliseum in 2025 has been nothing short of an abomination.
The Big 12's got a situation going. We
Don't
really
we?
do. We do.
We have a real problem in this
league
right now.
Saturdays in the Big 12 are a problem right now.
We're the SEC with Sun Belt officials.
It's not. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know what happened, but it seems like the talent. I thought that the officiating actually over the last 10 years has been good. It seems like some of the talent still is migrating to the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah, because they can pay more, probably. I would guess.
Makes you wonder, right?
I don't know. I have no idea how that works. Do I need to get the commissioner on the phone?
I think what I'd like to find out and it's not just us saying that. Okay, we're gonna get into the game clearly, but now that
I got a lot to get off my chest with Tony Padilla.
All right, so Tony Padilla is the guy who was he was tapping everybody. You get a tee in. You get
5 technicals. I believe the young tall guy called one of them. I think Padilla called the other 4.
Yeah, the young guy did the one when the guy almost slapped Eric Heft with his fist, and you got to protect Eric Heft.
You come near Eric Heft, it's your ass.
That's a T.
Yeah.
No, but one of my favorite Twitter accounts, C-Dub, is Ref Observer 17 is the name of the Twitter account. It's okay.
I didn't know that this existed. I need to get on this act.
So this guy has like an hour and a half before the game. He has all the ref assignments. I don't know how he gets them. He knows what he's talking about though. Like I get a feel of this guy knows what he's doing. And he said last night, looking over the box scores from today, safe to say the ongoing February swoon for Big 12 Saturday crews continues, just not good enough. In a key bubble game in Provo, the referee had done just his 6th Big 12 game of the year, and had a first-time Big 12 official and another guy doing just a second game. Like, the crew for the BYU, it was horrible.
Yeah, it was really
It was
bad.
like, I didn't know any of those three guys. And so the point is, like, Padilla is good, or he's well thought of, but he was, in my opinion, trying to carry the young two guys and just kind of over-inserted himself to protect them, and it turned into this, whatever that was on Saturday. So it's a situation. The people are noticing.
Well, I'm not a huge like ref guy. Like I really, you know this. Like we've done this bit on the show for 15 years.
I love officials.
You love the officials, and I don't really care. I'm just like, do your job. I don't want you to be a part of the game. That's all I care about. I don't care who you are. I know you have a hard job. Just don't be a part of the game. Don't make it about you. In this Padilla, every time, like I feel like I don't know. But I would feel like he throws a high number of technicals. That would just be my guess.
He's got to be in the top 10 nationally for sure. He's always tapping somebody. Interestingly, he has done 3 Final Fours, right? So
I'm sure. I'm not doubting that. I'm not saying. I don't even think. Does he make bad calls? That's not my point.
Got it.
Yesterday was as thin-skinned. That the Keyshawn one. Like
Keyshawn was going to. They had to calm Keyshawn down. He was so pissed.
Well, and then they I'm pretty sure that because Keyshawn hit that big 3 with like 10 to go.
Yes.
That kind of like set the tone. And it was, I want to say right after the Wes Miller tee.
Yes.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
It was
if
right
that
around
was
that
Keyshawn
same,
who hit that or what. And then I swear to God, Miller calls a timeout right after Keyshawn hits that tee. Keyshawn's talking his shit to whoever was defending him, if it was James or whatever. And I swear they got in Keyshawn's face then too. And I just okay. Do I think that college players should be mother effing officials? No. There's a limit here, but there also has to be a layer of the official can be like, hey, maybe I missed a call and that guy is pissed. There's got to be a little level of back and forth here. That Keyshawn tee was so quick.
It was. I mean, the problem was
there had to be more to that.
There no doubt was. There was a carryover from something. I have no doubt.
He did the Arizona game.
Okay. Well.
So with the rumblings I was hearing in the bowels of Hilton as I was leaving because I was snooping around is that they may have had an incident at Arizona where Keyshawn was talking, and Keyshawn was, and that's why I was so heartbroken after that loss for those guys because he was so locked in that second half, and I wanted him to win that. He is turning into one of my all-time favorite Cyclones, by the way. Just his killer demeanor. I know he's turning the ball over to high. It's not that. I love his attitude. I love Keyshawn.
That guy is as competitive as human being as I've ever met.
Man.
He just wants to win so bad.
I'm going to miss him.
Yeah, he just raises the bar for everybody. No, there was something there. Now on that one, you can't turn in the middle of a play and yell at an official.
I get it.
You can't do that.
But it's still weak.
It is weak
To team up. What happened to a warning? Hey, shut your mouth, dude.
Yeah.
Let me do the officiating.
He could have done that.
Okay,
Just say, hey,
whatever.
one more.
I get it. Let's slap it on him. I had no idea, and I was sitting courtside. I had no idea what happened.
Five tees in that game. That's one of the highest.
Oh,
I mean, the Tang one, the Tang game last year had 4. Pretty
chippy.
sure.
Chippy is the kids say.
It was chippy. It was a chippy game. But honestly,
and then Reed slapped the desk in that one, and I actually okay, he deserved it because he did that, but that was just out of frustration with himself.
Yeah, he wasn't mad at you.
He wasn't trying to show up a ref or anything like that. Wes Miller, I think was just, and I don't really blame him because in the second half.
Iowa State got a lot of calls.
Iowa State was getting the whistle.
Yeah, and let's be honest now.
And the best thing that happened to Iowa State in that game was the Keyshawn tee.
Yeah,
because it completely flipped the crowd. And then TJ, and I don't know if he was doing his Zen master whatever, but when he grabs Padilla on the way to the locker room, and everybody's just sitting there watching it, and it just charged that place.
Well, I didn't hear Miller's post game. I bet he is not happy today, just because. Okay, I mean,
we would be furious if that happened to Iowa State.
I mean, well, that and Iowa State shoots 30 free throws to their 11,
and Like, guys, that was a physical game.
Yeah, it was a physical game.
Like, I mean, Chatfield was throwing down there. Like, that Deshaun was when he was in there. Like, that was a physical-ass basketball game.
So on that was a Hilton special in a way, because you're right. The Keyshawn, the tees early set the tone in the second half. Like, we're not letting this thing get away from us. And that's where I think the Padilla thing came from, C-Dub. He was over-protecting his young mates there in the officiating crew. So then they started just, like, calling everything. And that was to Iowa State's advantage, because Iowa State saw that. And then they went right after James. I mean, they got when they got that fourth foul on James, it turned the whole game around. It was really smart. It was really smart.
Maestro stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Taman was carving him up. Taman literally went right at that guy. Like, I'm getting this call. I'm in Hilton. It was really, really heady stuff. And
truly one of my favorite games in the last few years.
It was fun. I mean, it was
a fun. Were you there?
That was a high. I would say high IQ game from Iowa State, because they did not like. You can't turn the ball over like that.
No,
which
is a problem. We got to talk about it.
It's a problem.
This is a legitimate problem for Iowa State.
And Iowa State didn't shoot it great, and yet they still. That was a high IQ. We're going to use the building and the emotion to our advantage, and the crowd really helped. I thought the crowd was electric yesterday for kind of a random Saturday afternoon game, but it was great.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I asked a little bit. I don't know everything that they were talking about. I don't think it was Otz's intention for that to go on as long as it did at halftime.
With Padilla.
And it looked like Padilla was talking the majority of the time. So, but honestly, and to be dead on serious, and he's talked with me on this show before, on this podcast network about it. If you've heard TJ speak at any of these things about this is why you're respectful to the official.
Yep.
This is why you're not a maniac for 40 minutes every time you go out there, because they'll sit and have a conversation with you, right? And it
100%
benefited Iowa State yesterday.
I thought TJ's keeping his calm there in that situation was a huge help in the second half. Cincinnati gets up 3, 48-45, and then it was Iowa State's physicality. It
felt like Kansas State.
Yeah. Iowa State's physicality really won out. The offensive glass, I thought Chat was awesome.
That was the difference in those two games.
Yep.
Like that, Iowa State just dominates across the board.
Correct. That's a great point. Very similar to the K-State game, how that thing unfolded yesterday. It's just Iowa State was tougher and more physical, unlike the K-State game when K-State was the one winning on the glass and the 50-50 balls. But
I think that was why everybody was so amped up after the K-State game too, because it was just so anti-Iowa State.
It was, and that was a game when you turn the ball over. That was 18 turnovers for Iowa State.
Yep.
You're going to lose that game majority of the time, even if you're at home. But that was a grown-up way for Iowa State to approach it. And I thought Taman and Chatfield in particular, Joshua Jefferson's physicality in the second half, just really high-end stuff from those guys.
Milan hit a key three at a key moment.
I thought he was, real quick on Milan, I thought he was as active as I've seen him in a long time. Like, really, really active on both sides, which is super encouraging. I know he didn't shoot it great he shot it pretty good, actually. He was 2 of 5 from 3. But I thought he was really looking for his shot. I love when he goes to work in the high post. When he gets that mismatch against a smaller guard and just tries to take it in there, that's a super encouraging sign. Iowa State in the half court against a solid defensive team, I thought, when it wasn't turning the ball over, was awesome. Really, really good stuff in general from that game. Just some of the passes were just way too sloppy.
Because this is where, and this was my theme of the post game too. Like, first of all, you can acknowledge a 11-point win against a good team.
Yeah.
That team's better than Central Florida, right?
Yes.
Like, like that.
Especially when James is shooting like that.
Yeah,
Holy
like
smoke.
James was incredible. He was unconscious. Like, just what an athlete, what a creator. Just
respect
really
to that guy. Holy
fun
smokes.
to be able to watch him. So all that said, the turnovers is where Iowa State is. Like, right now, they're a really good team. If they want to be a great team, they have to get to the bottom of that. And I love the fact that we can sit here and pick this apart after a double-digit win. So we'll get to that. We haven't even thanked our friends at Mechdyne yet, because we just had to dive in on this Tony Padilla.
Come on, Padilla.
Well, we were talking off air, everybody. I'm like, Bloom, we have to turn this thing on.
I know a little bit about little man syndrome.
You do, and that's why you all become refs. Sorry, you set it right up. teed it right up for me. We are presented by our friends at Mechdyne, the Mechdyne Corporation. We're having a game watch with Mechdyne real quick. The 25th.
Yeah.
So what is that exactly?
Well,
because We Will's involved in this.
We will. Yeah, we're helping. We're not really. It doesn't benefit us at all.
Okay,
so
but we can still promote it because it's a big deal to our sponsor. Yeah.
And let me know it's a fundraiser for a program called Science Bound. So
Okay.
Mechdyne and the Clovers are huge supporters of Science Bound. It's an amazing program that a lot of people don't know about at Iowa State. And so we're actually having a game watch, and Coach Campbell's coming to the game watch, and
Cool.
it's a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser for Science Bound, and I'll have to check seat up. I'll put it out there this week if we have open seats that people can get there.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. But at the very least, I'm gonna put something up the day of for people to support Science Bound, because it's a program that, number one, Mechdyne and the Clovers are like huge proponents of. What it is for underrepresented kids, specifically for them from the Marshalltown area, that get into the STEM fields and the ag field. So it's actually the A STEM fields. And so you raise money for underrepresented kids to get scholarship
That's
opportunities to go to Iowa State to pursue degrees that a lot of us take for granted. A lot of them can't afford it. And so the Clovers and Mechdyne in particular have been major benefactors to this program.
That's awesome.
And it's so cool because they're right there in Marshalltown, which, if you know anything about Iowa, has a larger underrepresented population. A lot of those kids don't have these opportunities. And so Matt, who is the best, Coach Campbell, is taking his own time to come over there for this game watch for the Oklahoma State game on the 25th. And we may have a few seats available if you'd want to come. But again, we ask that it's a fundraiser here. It's not just a, hey, come hang out type of thing. So it's going to be a fun night. And
Yeah.
I know hopefully you'll be there with me,
Yeah, I'll
and
be
we're
there.
going to raise some dollars for a really cool program in Science Bound.
Can't wait. That's a
that-
cool deal.
And that's all,
Hopefully
on
Iowa
that
State
same
can get a
note.
big win.
Yeah, plus that goes through the Iowa State Foundation too, is where that program goes.
Well, I
So-
was just going to give the Move What
Yeah.
Matters.
Well, and that's
They're all connected here.
It's
Yep.
one of those programs, again, that a lot of people don't know about unless you're involved day to day. But the foundation has so many cool programs that is very tailored to people's specific interests. And so our goal is to raise, honestly, we're going to try and raise $100,000 that night for Science
That'll be
Bound.
great. We also shout out to our friends at the Alumni Association. We spent Friday evening. Bloom and Maddie Van Winks emceed their Cardinal and Gold Gala. I don't know how to pronounce it. But that's nice event.
Yeah, it
Jeff
really was.
Johnson's done so much for Iowa State over the years. Really love him and his beautiful wife.
Great team on the Alumni Association.
Fun event on Friday night. It was nice to meet a lot of you who came up and shook hands and did all that good stuff. Okay, so Iowa State gets the 11-point win, but they still have this turnover thing going on. First of all, the rebounding thing was awesome. I mean, they just completely dismantled a physical team on the glass. More of those 50-50 ball. I mean, they're not 50-50 balls with Iowa State.
Now
it's
with
an
Taman,
80-20
holy
ball.
smokes.
Taman and Chatfield probably each had 3 or 4 by themselves yesterday. That's a huge plus to see Brant coming back along. That's 2 games in a row now where he's been incredibly active. As TJ said after the game, just winning type of plays. And then, I thought Taman Lipsey probably – he had one of those games yesterday. I don't even know what he ended up with.
I don't
but
even know. It doesn't matter.
How many plays did he have that led to points or keeping points off the board on the other side?
He is not normal. The stuff he does, TJ said it, called him a superhero. That's what it is. I'm looking at his line right now. All right, so Taman, I think it's actually a pretty good game. 31 minutes, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 steals, and no assists, interestingly.
I would love I've said this before, I would love, and maybe there's analytics that do this, the double assist like from hockey.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see that in college basketball.
His basketball awareness is the highest I've ever seen at Iowa State. It's knowing where to, he's like a elite free safety at all times.
Good point. Yeah.
He knows what they're trying to do. You know what the play that changed the game, in my opinion? James was absolutely on a heater. And Taman gets the assignment, and he got embarrassed a couple of times.
James, he was so good, though.
Some of the stuff you can't guard.
Like half those shots he made, he made our guys look a little. He got Heisey once. He
Yep,
got
he
Keyshawn
did.
once.
He got Taman a couple times.
But like a couple of those were just circus type stuff. Like
Yeah.
he was. It was like Kurt Jones at Arizona State type stuff.
It's like you see in the NBA a lot. Like sometimes you can't guard it. Like whatever. But then Taman takes that offensive foul, got that shove off, and I thought it changed the game. So he makes that play. But then all of the time, defensively, but then offensively, he goes right at James, picks up that fourth foul, another transformational game. And the other play that he did, and that's the one Miller wanted the foul on, but he kept that possession alive on that loose ball that ended up in a 3. And he just does all of these little things that you can't see it in a box score. You don't even see it, even if you're. But just so many winning plays. It's games like that where you go, who's Iowa State's most valuable player? And it's hard to say it's not Taman. Like, it's got to be Taman. But then there's so many other guys that had an impact too. But Taman, he's special. He just really is. He's one of one in the stuff that he does on that court. And the fact that he's from Ames and he's got the history and his parents, it's like.
And like I was watching him. I've had this commentary on Taman multiple times, but you like watch him once he's not on the court, and he walks around like an abused 60-year-old man, right? Like
he throws himself around.
He dude needs like 3 ice baths a day with the way that he plays.
He's playing with a broken thumb on his shooting hand, and he's actually shooting it better now.
He's just a winner.
The guy is we don't talk about him enough because it's almost like, oh, that's just Taman doing what Taman does. It's like, that is not normal. What he does is completely not normal. And he had one of those games yesterday where, like, man, I'm glad we got that guy on our team. And I want him around we got another year with him. And I just can't think. I think the world of that guy. I really do. He was awesome.
Kurt Jones, 12 of 12 from the free throw line. He, and again, that, I don't know. I'm not going to complain. That's what happens when you have an elite home court advantage and you have a really good team, which Iowa State is. But you can go to the free throw line and shoot it 30 times and miss half of them.
Yeah,
which changes the game. And Iowa State, it really. I thought it was an interesting box score. If you just blindly look at it, take turnovers out, blindly look at it, you would think Iowa State would win that game by 30.
Yeah, yeah.
But then, Brent, it's these turnovers and. Listen, it doesn't matter in a game like this. Probably won't matter on Tuesday. They got to get it under control, though, for March.
Yeah. You can't afford to do that against it.
But what's interesting to me, and I've been thinking a lot about this, and it's not right or fair to just like compare them to other Iowa State. I was thinking about like last year. Okay, Sweet 16 team, similar spot in KenPom. Okay. We all think this team is more talented. The metrics would say there's not much of a difference. As far as like the overall profile, though, is different. They had an identity with the defensive thing, right? They were a better defensive team last year. They're still very good now, but they were a better defensive team, or one of the best in the country, one of the 2 or 3 best in the country last year. I feel like there's a higher variable with this group.
Yeah.
Because
there's a higher ceiling for sure.
The higher ceiling because of the offense, but then it's like this is why I was encouraged after the Kansas game, and I had a lot of people in the comments making fun of me. But they only turned it over 7 times or whatever in that game. I'm like,
5.
okay, that's progress, right? Because if this team that showed up and scored 81 on Cincinnati, who's a good defensive team,
25th in the country,
yes,
in defense.
If that team has 10 turnovers instead of 18, holy shit. Like, then you go from being really good to elite national championship contender. And now they are a national championship contender now. Yeah. Right? Like, we know this, but, you look at, like, what is the profile, and Otts is doing this too. Like, I guarantee you this is what they're focused on today. They got to get it under control. Get that down to you can't be doing that. Houston will feast on you if you do that against them.
That's it. Like, you look at it, and analytically, Iowa State. Let's see. I'm just pulling it up right now. 97th in turnover percentage. Last year they were 50th, so a little bit worse.
Yeah, it's not as extreme as you would think, but it's really
bad.
Just recently, though, Brent.
And the weird thing is, like, let's just look at the last 5 games, right? So Iowa State, this is what's strange about this group. It's like it's hit and miss. 18 turnovers against K-State, 5 at Kansas, and then it was 14 against TCU, only 9 at UCF, which is really good, but then 18 again yesterday. That's like super spotty, and sometimes it's trying to be too unselfish. I thought yesterday was just some mindless stuff, like some really dumb stuff. And to your point, you can do that against Cincinnati. You do that against Houston. You do that against Duke, Auburn, Alabama. You lose by double digits then. And that's where I think what you're saying here is
Yeah.
we all
I
understand.
know they're really good.
Yeah, they're still really good, but you cannot give away – Iowa State literally gave away 8 possessions. 8 possessions
Well,
yesterday.
and the thing is,
Like,
against a
just dumb
good team,
passes.
against a really good team, when you do that, it turns into points in transition, and that's the problem.
Exactly. Because
And then that makes
Cincinnati,
your defense worse.
Cincinnati did not take advantage of it. I mean,
No, they don't run, they don't like to, they don't want to, but Houston will.
Well, that's
Kansas did, like
it's
Kansas. What they score on like 5 of those 7 turnovers in transition,
Yep,
right?
for
I mean,
sure.
you're in a game you don't shoot well, it's over. Like that's the game.
And it makes me wonder because, Keyshawn and Taman both have been turnover prone. I mean, interestingly, I watched the broadcast back this morning. Spatola said Taman has the same number of assists as turnovers in conference play, which is that's. So you wonder, is it the hand thing? I think that's a fair question. That thing hurts, by the way. That's not, you can't just break your thumb and be like, he's
straight.
playing through it.
Straight.
But it has an impact. It definitely has an impact. And sometimes, they're just I think they're overdoing it. But at the end of the day, you have 18 turnovers, C-Dub, and still do 1.17 points per possession, which is an absurd amount against a good Cincinnati team. So to that point, if Iowa State keeps that down to 11 or 10, that points per possession is 1.3, which is out of this world.
It's a complete game changer.
Yeah. So I think, and we know these guys can take care of the ball. It's just some of the passes were just mindless, and got to clean that up again. If you want to make the Final Four, you can't have a game like that.
Well, it's also part of me too, specifically with Keyshawn, more so than Taman. I think like Taman had one yesterday. It was just in the corner, and he was a hustle play, and he dribbled it off his foot. Like, like stuff like that. It's not a mind. Like it's just the Keyshawn thing. I'm really careful about. You still want him to be Keyshawn.
Yeah, he still has to be aggressive.
Right? Because that's what his strength is.
Yeah.
Downhill. I think he, of all the guys, will get, because of that competitiveness that makes me love him so much, he'll go into a mode where he's mad and, where he'll lose like his concentration for a couple possessions because he's pissed. So he's got to hone that in. But again, like I want that Keyshawn though.
Yeah, it's kind of a give or take a little bit too. Like the problem is, and where Iowa State got stuck at times without Momcilovic is, you get passive there, and you just do you don't attack. I mean, there is a trade off there. Turnovers with aggressiveness are not the worst thing because Iowa State since Milan came back has been really good at the half court. By the way, really good. And sometimes that's the trade off is you are attacking, you are going to make a mistake or two. Just cannot let it turn into points on the other end. And thankfully, Cincinnati did not do it yesterday. But it's a concern. It's now a couple games here that this has happened. We know Iowa State has the guys to figure it out. But outside of that, I guess my takeaway was the half-court offense was really cooking yesterday. And that gives me some confidence going forward here.
Yeah. Again, to be clear, this is all positive stuff.
Yeah. This is nitpicking when you win by 11 against a good team in Cincinnati.
That's the American dream, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the American dream. Thanks some great sponsors. Our buddy Colin Newell with Farm Bureau Financial Services. Bloom and I both have all of our insurance for our families through Colin, as do hundreds of you who listen to this and are all very satisfied with the work Colin does. He's great young man who played really hard for the Cyclones all those years, and now he's thriving in that world. So support him and let him save you some money. I know it's like, even like, it's like, God, I don't want to switch insurance. That's a pain in the ass. They make it really easy.
Yeah, it's all digital now.
Yeah, it's so fast and easy. It's super. Colin 1L, Newell,
2 L's.
Farm Bureau Financial services.
1 L on Colin, 2
I was with Denny from Clear Lake. He was again, hyping up our guy Andrew Chaplin yesterday, the real estate agent. We are getting to the point where people, doesn't the housing market heat up as the weather heats up a little bit?
I've heard that.
I've heard that too. All my real estate friends say that. So if you are in a situation, got to move. Remember Chappie, our man Chappie. He's the man. He'll help you. Andrew Chaplin with Hunziker. Also, we thank our great friends at Terraplex Ag, of course, our presenting sponsor Mechdyne, and boom. Let's go to the Whiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment. We will do a breakdown of the women's game coming up as well as they had a key win at Kansas. Let's stick with the men's game and round this thing out. The Kansas State winning streak comes to an end at BYU.
Complete thud.
But man, like I thought that game. And now, granted, I had a bunch of 10-year-old girls at my house for a birthday party, so I'm trying to watch it. Like, it wasn't a perfect setting. I actually thought Kansas State was fine. They just missed shots, and like that's a hard place to win. Albeit, like we kind of talked on Wednesday. We thought maybe our betting streak of Kansas State might. We knew that we were flirting with danger if you kept.
Keep hitting black every time the red's going to come up on the roulette wheel.
We were a little hesitant. BYU's really good at home. Be interesting to see how Kansas State bounces back. The other interesting aspect of this, so they go to Utah now, and Kansas just lost at Utah. Kansas is 8-6.
They were so bad yesterday. They
looked like garbage, man.
I mean,
did you stay up for that?
I did. I watched.
I did
watched
too.
the entire set. I was I could feel Bill Self's. This is a recurring theme. He just does not like this team. He was so mad at everybody yesterday. That was a note. Like, Utah is very average. They're fine. They didn't even play well. Utah tried to give Kansas that game. Kansas like, nope, we want to give it back to you, Utah. That's a horrible loss. That takes, in my mind, Kansas off the top 3 seed lines in the NCAA tournament.
I was just going to say, are they in jeopardy of like dropping to the 5 line?
I mean, they are trending the wrong way. But on the Iowa State front, the good news is that Iowa State is almost a lock now to get that double bye in the Big 12 tournament because Kansas just gift wrapped.
Well, and you start to look at Wichita. You start to look at
Milwaukee,
and Iowa State looks a lot better as far as that goes. Because we do need to talk about the seeding stuff too.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's been a good 8 days for Iowa State on the projection front. I'll just put it that way.
I was also happy. I don't know if I should have been. You're better at this than me. I wanted Houston to win that game at Arizona.
Yeah, you absolutely did.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I just want that game next week to be hype. Let's go. College game day. Like, bring it. I
think Iowa State can beat those guys.
I do too. I do too. You said it. You said it first. Now I can just tell you.
I think Iowa State can beat Houston. I said it a week ago. Iowa State's going to be amped up. I mean, this week sets up really well for Iowa State.
It's a great statement opportunity for the Cyclones after the Momcilovic injury because it's like even your own fans to an extent were giving up on you. Like, that's the crazy minority ones. Yeah. I get it. But, like, that's the type of fan that they use as motivation, though. They don't use, like, the rational moderate.
They see the Twitter burners.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. And it pisses them off, and they do. They do that stuff all the time. They'll use anything for motivation.
It's like the Michael Jordan. I took that personally.
I think this is an opportunity for Iowa State to kind of say, no, we are that team that blew out Marquette at home and that should have beaten Auburn. Like, we are that team. I think, and I wanted the Houston game to be as big of a game as possible with that spotlight on it. And as long as those two teams don't screw it up this week, it's going to be. It's going to be the game of the week in college hoops.
Houston goes to Arizona State Tuesday night.
That's a little tricky.
Although Arizona State with a complete facepalm again. Man, that team is
I didn't even see. Did they lose to TCU?
They got their backside beat in by TCU.
Is he a flop?
Hurley?
Yeah.
I mean, You can't be losing to TCU at home when you're on the bubble. They've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, they can't be
They're
on
out.
the bubble anymore.
They're not on the bubble anymore, but they're out. But yeah, I thought he would win there. He is definitely not winning there. Because
By the way,
some dudes.
Colorado's coming to town. Got one here. That was my big prediction in my Don Hassel text group yesterday.
Which was
that Colorado's going to get its first Big 12 win.
Well,
they beat
they did.
UCF. Sucks, man. Like they suck. You
Iowa
watch
State will
Cincinnati play and you watch UCF play. Who's an NCAA tournament team?
I know. I think Cincinnati should be in the NCAA tournament. I was impressed by their. Well, if James is doing that.
That team could get to a Sweet 16.
I agree. Yeah, with those two guards.
Yeah, they absolutely could. One of the Iowa State coaches was telling me that he thinks Reed's probably the best on-ball defender in the league.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, they're long too. And the Bidango
you know,
kids
like
are
somebody,
all over.
I don't know.
We'll be favored. Iowa State will be favored by 18 or so on Tuesday night. So you should take care of business. But
I hate these like giant like double-digit Big 12. But I don't know.
Then you go to Houston.
Colorado's not very good.
Yeah, Colorado, Iowa State should win that by double digits. The Houston game, though, the great thing with those games, if you win it, huge bonus. If you lose it, it's like
as long as you don't lose by like 30, it
lose,
doesn't really hurt you.
100%. I was just going. That's where I was going. Keep it respectable, and it'll get the attention of the committee. And I think Iowa State is person for person just as good as those guys. It's just that environment will be electric. I'm glad game day's there, and redemption time a little bit for Iowa State. That'll be a fun one. The Houston's going to win the conference, right? It's almost a lock at this point.
I think that they probably like deserve it.
I think they should be on the 1 seed. I was disappointed for them; they weren't a 1 seed.
Yeah,
we've gotten a little carried away with the SEC. The SEC is getting the benefit of the doubt, like the Big 12 did the last 5 years, in that all these they're racking up these quad 1 wins because they're all playing each other.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's like, well,
and then you don't get nicked when you lose.
Yeah,
so it's hard to really move.
Like who's good and who's not. And again, I think Auburn's great. Clearly, I think Alabama's really good. A&M's been playing great. They have Florida. Like I get it. I understand.
Missouri's playing well.
Like they got really good teams. But that they are in this self-fulfilling prophecy now. We're like, oh well, we're going to stay there because we're only losing to good teams now.
Yeah, Iowa State's a 9. The 9 seed.
9 overall, yeah.
I had them 7 to 10, so about where I thought it would be. I do think Iowa State should be a 2 seed if you factor in the Momcilovic injury.
Well, then Purdue losing yesterday helped.
So you probably are.
You probably are now.
Seeded it today.
Yeah,
I would think.
Yes,
that they would be.
Interestingly, and again, I like the seeds, but I trust Vegas more. You know that.
Iowa State's what? I looked at this.
Yep. Hold on, I'm getting it up. Pull it up.
What, like plus 550 to win the title?
They are here. I got you here. Hold on. Oh man, I had it up. I looked
it up last night.
So they are to win the whole thing. I would say to 16 to 1 to win the championship.
Okay, so what? 550 to get to the Final Four.
Final Four, they're just 3 to 1 now. So it's now
really okay. So that dropped. Okay.
So the point is, Iowa State has the 6th best odds to make a Final Four. So it's Auburn, Duke, Florida, Bama, Houston, Iowa State. Again,
that seems right.
Yeah, I'm taking that over the 9th ranking in the net. Like, I think Iowa State, if it holds serve as I believe it will, these teams are going to lose still. I think Iowa State is definitely in prime 2 range for sure. 1 is going to be hard. You beat Houston, maybe get some luck, but I think Iowa State will end up being
don't drop
2.
like that BYU or Arizona game.
Yep.
Like that'll be really the key. If you can just hold court at home,
if you win
and
at
don't
home,
lose to Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Who might be the worst team in the league?
Yeah, they got drilled by 40 last night.
Like fun times. I mean, this is what we. This is don't sleep type of time.
Yeah,
I love this shit.
Well,
this is great.
The great thing is all these games around the country matter too, because like you can watch that Purdue Wisconsin game. It's like, hey, let's go Scotty, because Purdue loses, that drops them off. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. I think Iowa State's in a really good position. Quickest to 20 wins from a date standpoint since 2001. That team got to 20 wins on February 5th. This one, February 15th. Interestingly, C-Dub, the nostalgic 2000 team, the greatest of all time, did not win number 20 until February 16th.
All right, fact. Hey, I got Kansas fans all mad at me. I thought this was one of my great tweets. You're the NIL guy. You tell me how accurate this is. John Rothstein tweets last night, Kansas hasn't been vintage Kansas since before the 2023 NCAA Tournament. That's almost 2 years ago. I quote retweeted it and said, it's crazy how things even out when other schools can pay the players too.
It's true.
The Kansas fans are a bit salty today.
Well, they should be mad at themselves. And they know it. They know.
They put their team together poorly.
Well, Bill Self admitted
it's like
it.
putting James Harden and Kyrie in the same backcourt.
Correct.
Like, it's not going to work. Like,
and like the basketball savant that is Cyclone Larry called this. Cyclone Larry said when they re-signed Hunter Dickinson, that's a bad way to spend money. I mean, that guy is a good player, but man, he has some games where like, what are you doing out there, pal? For the amount of attention that you get and the money you make, it's like they're just a weirdly configured group. And then Mayo got hurt at times. He came back in, thankfully for them. I
like him. I actually really
I
like
do
him.
too. I like Mayo a lot. He's kind of the glue for that team. Some of the investments they made are just not working. Like the Store kid has been awful. The Griffin kid has been bad. They can't make a shot. It's just, I don't know what's going on with them. They got issues, and that was a horrible loss against Utah. Just a really, really, really bad loss.
That I thought that they would go in there and win by 10, 15 last
100% with you. And that's, but to your point, yeah, it has evened out. Now, whether
that is really the case in football. Now, my theory on the football is that we went from having like 5 teams that could win a championship to like 15.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe not even that. Maybe it's like 12, but I think it doubled it.
Yes.
Right? Like I
agree with that.
To the point where I don't think you're ever going to see Bama and Georgia win like 3 in a row again or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think basketball, it's really spread this thing out.
And it's less about the money. Okay, I mean, yeah, the joke is, well, hey, you were paying guys all along, and now everybody else can too. I get that. It is that, but it's also more of these guys can't get locked into these blue bloods for 4 years at a time, right? And so, like back in the day, Kansas would get all the 5 stars, all the 4 stars, all the McDonald's All-Americans. They couldn't leave. Well, now they can leave if they're not playing. And so it's harder to keep your guys around and get that deep bench. I mean, just think about, like, go look at the Kansas team in 2004. The amount of talent is just silly, even on the bench. They can't do that anymore because if you're not going to play, you're going to leave. And I think that's the biggest difference with the NIL portal world. It's less about the money. It's more about the movement and playing time.
Fascinating world.
Yeah,
in the Big 12 is entertaining us.
It's good. It's
good theater.
And the officials make it. It's like the Forrest Gump line. It's like a box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're gonna get.
I would love to get your Mark's ear on this. To be like, not that he gives a shit what I think, but I'd love to talk to him about it because the problem is, it's like this league, and I agree with what they're doing. It's like we're going all in on basketball, right?
Uh-huh.
Like.
Yeah.
Now we got Arizona. We got, he's screwed around with UConn. Like they clearly have like this thought, like we're gonna sell our basketball TV rights. We're gonna
Houston, Kansas.
Yeah, we're gonna go be the basketball SEC.
Yep.
And which is great. The problem is you can't be that with the product where you're getting with the officials right now. And I do think you may have more insight here. Is that there's some Pac-12 influence here? I think a lot of these bad Pac-12 guys are officiating Big 12 games now, from what I've gathered.
There's a lot of West Coast influence now.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at guys, so I'll look at the KenPom rating thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that is, but I'll go, well, this guy sucks. Where is he from? And then I look, and he did all these Pac-12 games last year, is what I'm kind of seeing. Is there accuracy to that?
Yeah. I'd say the Big 12 has inherited a lot of those guys because, again, you got a lot of West Coast schools now, so you're just going to stay out there. I mean, generally, these guys travel across the country, but they do stay in their region. I would love to know. Well, we got to get. You know what? We could probably make this happen. Could we get Hollywood Higgins on a podcast?
I bet we could.
I think we should, just because I would love to know: is there a difference in pay? right? Because watch an SEC game today or tomorrow or whenever. They have a lot of the old Big 12 guys there. You know, the Keith Kimballs, Kissinger works a lot of SEC games, it seems like these days. You know, what's going on for some of those guys, the Don Dailies, they're now in the Big Ten. Like, why are these guys going over there more so than staying in the Big 12? I would just like to know that. Is it a regional thing that they're not from the West Coast, and so they don't want to go do those West Coast games, which could be as simple as that? Or is it a pay thing? I can't imagine the pay's that much different. I really can't.
I wouldn't either. But that was where my mind initially went, though, Brent. Because I'm like,
I get it. Yeah.
Is the Big 12, since it doesn't have the media revenue, paying less and getting a worse crop of officials?
Because why I say Hollywood Higgins, he is the supervisor for the Big 12 officials. So he'd be very much aware. Speaking of connections, our guy Keith in Montana.
Yeah, Keith. Great guy.
Knows Ken Pomeroy. We're getting Ken Pom. We're gonna get Ken Pom on a podcast.
Love it. And
Or
he's
you-
a big
or maybe he'll do it on the Seat Up Pod. I think it'd be fascinating. Now this,
let's do it.
he's a former meteorologist.
Well, and he
I love
was
Ken Pom.
hired by Iowa State before he was
Yeah.
Ken Pom.
Yep.
The
Just a guy.
early Hoiberg years. I don't know if this has ever been reported on, but they had him as like a consultant, and he did this for other schools.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just Iowa State,
But
but
he's changed basketball.
so like he's directly impacted Iowa State and specifically TJ's thoughts on foul or defend.
yeah, that's among other things.
Yeah,
For
like
sure.
TJ is like obsessive over that. And that's why it just cracked me up at that Arizona game. I'm like, just like, I get we all have opinions. Like, I guarantee he's thought about it more than you have.
So
Whatever.
If that game goes differently, I'm not doing it.
You'll get made fun of by Hassel. You
I
can't
know.
do it. The so and then Jeff Van Gundy's in Hilton
Yeah.
yesterday, which
I love
was
that
awesome.
guy. Jeff,
And a truly elite commentator. I would give anything to hear him because he like coaches odds.
the fact that on
I would
his
love to hear that.
so it's people are like, what the heck? He's the lead assistant for the Clippers now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. On his All-Star break, you know, where a lot of these coaches are going to go to Cancun or a beach, he goes to Ames
It's
to hang
freezing.
out with TJ, which is the guy loves Iowa State basketball. I swear it's real. He loves TJ is what it is. But no, Jeff Van Gundy has been awesome for Iowa State basketball.
What a weird sentence.
Isn't it weird? I know it's true. He was Tyronn Lue's lead assistant.
Go back to John Starks and Charles Oakley to
It's
hear
like
that.
because I saw him yesterday. I'm like,
He
what
was
are you
that
doing
coach,
here?
right? For
Yeah.
That next,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
okay.
yeah. No, he was the post. So yeah, he was post Pat Riley, but he was the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It was Riley, and then he was the one that those teams that would fight with the Heat. And
Yes.
yeah,
And he was the hanging on
coach
the
of
leg.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He's one of my favorite color commentators in the history of sports broadcasting.
Well,
though
and then
I don't watch the NBA as much because he's not doing it.
He's not. Well, he's turned the Clippers around. Like he is doing a great job with them. Like he could be, if he wants to be, he could be a head coach again in the NBA. He is that well respected. But for some reason, and it's crazy, he and TJ are like bros now.
Maybe he just wants to come and be the analyst for Iowa State basketball.
Well, how about next year, Van Gundy and me on the ESPN Plus?
Let's go.
Nothing against Darren Hansen. Love Coach.
I think Hansen, love Hansen. Hansen would be like, all right, go
All
ahead,
right,
take it, coach.
JVG, you got it. No, so yeah, it's legitimate. He has been an unbelievable resource for Iowa State. Unbelievable.
What a weird deal.
It's a weird deal.
Okay, let's talk about the women's win at Kansas. But first of all, Jeff Kelderman Manufacturing, that whole team, Kelderman.com. Go to Jeff's YouTube page. He's trying to do a new truck or something for Kid Rock. I'm serious. He was telling me about it yesterday. Like you never know when you get that text from Kelderman what's coming
What's
through.
coming? It's like it could be about.
And I'm like,
any
let's
number of
go.
things.
The Kid Rock truck. I'm all in. Kelderman.com. Check out his YouTube page.
What a guy.
So, full disclosure, I have only seen the second half because the women's game was going on during the.
Yeah, we could
And
do
I was
better about
sitting-
that. We could do better about not
Oh,
having those games on at the same
You'd be
time.
proud of me. I'm doing men's post game. Get that done. I watched the women's game in Hilton, basically all by myself with like the event staff people who were tearing
They're
down.
like, get the heck out of here, Williams.
But they were rolling. I mean, they looked really,
Great.
really good. And I've been pretty consistent with my take on this team that I thought that they had another level. And it was just like, can they ever consistently do it? I don't know if we're 100% there, but they are definitely peaking. Like they're ascending as we head into March.
That was a offensive display.
That felt like
yesterday.
that was their best game, right?
It was
This
I
year?
mean,
Well,
they've
The
strung
game last Saturday was pretty
Yeah,
tough
they've got
to beat.
2 in a row that were
Yeah.
3 in a row, really. If you go back
Yeah.
to the Cincinnati game on the road, they're cooking
Yeah.
now, and they are certainly their net's up to 36 now.
So they're safely in if the
I would
tournament
say
starts
safely
today.
in now. I mean, their issue, C-Dub, and this is the good and the bad thing about playing a really good schedule. I would say there's 8 quad 1 games. I would say it's 0-8 in those games. And like the game yesterday would have been a quad 1 game at the time, but because Iowa State won the game, Kansas now dropped to 78th. And so that's now a quad 2 win. And Iowa State's great, 2, 3, and 4 wins. Don't have a quad 1 win. And the issue is I'm looking at the schedule, and I don't know when you're going to get one, because you've got – so here's what the women have left. Houston on Wednesday. Houston is awful, okay? You go to Baylor on Saturday, what will be a huge game. That's going to be hard, though, right? Like, that's obviously a quad 1 win if you win it. Baylor's ranked in the top 20. UCF in Orlando. UCF's horrible. And then the big one is the last game of the year in Ames against K-State. 14th ranked K-State, Sunday, March 2nd. That's going to be one of those games. I don't think it's going to be a win and get in type situation. I think Iowa State should be in, or at the very least be in that play-in situation. Keep in mind now, the NCAA, or the women's basketball side has 68 teams too. They have a play-in tournament as well.
That bubble's weak.
It is weak, but I could see a world, and this is, if I'm in the committee, I'm going to go, wait a second, Iowa State does not have one quad 1 win. And I think Iowa State gets in regardless, but that could be used against them when comparing resumes with some of those other teams that are either on the bubble, in as a last 4 bye, or potentially playing that play-in game. That said, if Iowa State plays this well, Iowa State's playing back to like a top 25 team right now. Addie Brown was unbelievable again. She should have had a triple-double yesterday. It's actually her and one of the guards was fighting over a rebound. I'm like, give it to Addie so she can get a triple-double. But between her crooks and the way Emily Ryan shot it yesterday, that's what we thought all year. And it's no mystery. Bill Fenley's teams are playing its best as we get to the end of February here.
I seem to think that as long as they take care of business against the teams they should be, they'll be safely in.
I think so too. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that quad 1 thing in this women's world.
I don't think it will
keep them
either.
out.
I can just see that being used against them if somebody wants to pick a fight. But you're right. You beat Houston Wednesday, UCF in Orlando on Tuesday, and then maybe get one in the Big 12, and Iowa State should be in. And I would not want to see Iowa State if Iowa State's a
No, because they're
8 to 10 seed.
They're a
Oh
10
my
seed
gosh.
with 3 seed talent.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And then you can't prepare for Crooks and Brown. You just can't. It's not.
No.
It's not there. So I think
For-
this team could certainly string together a couple games in the tournament too.
You just reminded me to look. UCF dropped out of quad 1. They are 76 now.
On the men's side?
Yeah, they dropped from 70 to 76 overnight after their loss.
Yeah, I see that. Jeez, thanks a lot, UCF. What
Yeah,
a weird
just-
team.
Iowa looks like, I mean, as long as they don't completely
That was actually
implode.
we're happy they won at Rutgers.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
happy.
that
was
might have
helpful.
saved Iowa State with a quad 1 right
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
to be honest. And then, the other one you kind of got to keep an eye on is Arizona State, because that is a quad 1 win. They are down to 65 now. So we have a lot of these tweeners.
Yeah. And that's why the women, I mean, the great thing, see, Iowa State's a game ahead of where they were a year ago, conference-wise. So it's been an interesting year for them. I think they are playing as well as they have all year, and it's going to be a fun couple weeks for them too.
It wouldn't shock me at all if they're in the championship game in Kansas City.
Totally agree. And I think they can win at Baylor. I mean, that's the thing here. The good news is you still have Baylor and K-State left, so you get one of those, and it's almost a lock then. If you take care of business, win one of those, you're not only safely, and you're pushing, 7 to 10 seed range at that point.
I think they'll beat Kansas State at home.
I do too. I would like to know.
I don't know as much about Baylor.
Well,
I think they'll get Kansas State, though.
Kansas State, and then Lee for them has been hurt. I don't know if she's still hurt or what's going on, but I would say if you can, that game against K-State, let's sell that thing out, seriously, on March 2nd, 3 o'clock afternoon game. K-State, Iowa State could really use it. Use that game.
Day after the men host Arizona, so a big weekend in Hilton Coliseum.
Huge weekend. And, again, 3 o'clock Sunday the 2nd. I would love to bang that place out and show this team some support as they head to the postseason.
All right. Well, we will have Williams and Blum Wednesday coming up. That'll be a good show. It'll be right after the Colorado game, and we'll really start to dive into Houston. I'm glad College Game Day is going to be there. Really put the focus on this group. It was a little weird the last time because they were on that 3-game losing streak.
Yeah.
But and that wasn't a great because it was TCU. This is the marquee game in college basketball next Saturday. So let's take care of business. Get there. Blum, who are you picking in the Daytona 500?
Juan Pablo's not available, right?
Juan Pablo is out of the game.
Who's the guy? I kind of fell in love with him. That's a weird thing to say about a NASCAR driver. The guy that learned how to drive playing video games, and now he's like one of the best. Yeah.
He's last year's winner. He won the race last year.
I'm going to go with him.
That's a good pick.
I'm going to go with him.
He drives for the best team. Like
I'm looking
Jeff
here.
Gordon's old car.
I'm going to take a flyer. Jimmy Johnson, I thought he retired. Why does he keep coming back? Like
he just races like the big
but
races.
I can't take that seriously then.
Yeah,
that'd be like
I don't
if
like it either.
That'd be like if Magic Johnson's like, I'm going to play in the All-Star game.
I don't like it either, Brent.
I'm going Shane Van Gisbergen.
That's a terrible pick. He's an old Australian road car racer. He is going to be a really good racer down the road.
All right.
Team.
For the record, guys, I just put $10 on Shane Van Gisbergen. And if that wins, that's going.
The value play is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at plus 3,000. That's where you go.
Shane is 90-1, so that $900 is going straight to the Weevil Collective.
There's a reason why he's 90-1.
Who's your pick? You're the expert here.
This Daytona, I hate it because it's a lottery. It's like who can survive to the end.
Wait a second. Helio Castroneves is driving into this thing?
Yeah, and he's going to – it's this whole controversial thing. He got a free provisional because and all the people are pissed.
I'm pissed for them.
The problem with Daytona, it's like the best driver, the best car doesn't ever win because it's just like if you can not wreck. So you got to pick the guys. So my pick would be Ryan Blaney if I have to pick like a favorite. The other one, my long shot, is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's an incredible – and I would also throw a little jack on Austin Dillon. He's a good super speedway guy.
That's the deal.
Don't bet the favorites. Yeah, don't bet the favorites in Daytona. You bet the guys that are back deep.
You guys, we're gonna keep this crew of Iowa State men's basketball players together with Shane Van Gisbergen. Let's go, Shane.
That guy, crazy enough, little NASCAR trivia. He won his first start in his career. It was because he's a road course racer, and he wanted it in Chicago. I want to say that one year. Yeah,
I've never been a bigger fan of Shane Van Gisbergen.
I hope he wins, too, for your sake. That'd be great. He's Brent Blum. My name is Chris Williams. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.